Network Podcast.
Right, we are back with Losing That Number podcast. Something a bit different this week, something we've talked about doing back in last year. We've got Aidan on, a long-time follower of the podcast, so I really appreciate you supporting us. Welcome on, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not so bad. Thanks for having us. I've been following the podcast almost like straight away since you came out, because big Saints fan I am myself. Anything that I can get my hands on to, have a listen, see what other people are thinking, especially when things were going tough. We sort of needed a bit of a, it was nice to have a listen to what people were thinking and see what we have a chat about.
I really appreciate that. And I just say, with more to listen to, this is why we brought you on, see if you've got a different opinion to us, disagree with us, maybe even change our minds on things. So we'll see how it goes. Ben, that first half at Warrington, what do we say about that?
Do we have to?
Unfortunately, we do.
I suppose it's the main thing we do this for, isn't it? Yeah, shocking. Really, really shocking first half. A few people had said to me before, I was kind of hoping they were wrong, that the quicker ruck speed rule change would really hurt us more than any other team, and they were kind of right. Like the way that Wolf and then Welland's coached us, because that's what the rules were. Take advantage of them, not blaming him, but to really, really play slow and wrestle heavy game, can't do it now. We lost Lee's and Knowles, the most mobile members of the pack as well, which combined with a much quicker ruck and a very quick hooker on their side, I think it's going to take a good number of weeks for us to really get used to that.
Yeah,
unfortunately, did a bit better in the second, but it still wasn't great. A lot of missed opportunities, but at least we seem to be at least getting a little bit more used to it, and hopefully that's been a focus this week in training. Those quick rucks, because we got another team with a hooker that's going to love play the balls on Friday as well.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, me and Aidan was talking before we come on about this ruck speed, and it's like, I don't know if you agree or not, Aidan, but we sort of sussed out to it in the second half. We cleaned up that ruck a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that at the end of the day, we outscored them, albeit there was a bit of consolation try at the back end of the game. But I just feel like that sort of kamikaze that they did against us for that 20-minute spell, where we just couldn't handle them and they put 18 points on us, was too much of a hill to climb for an opening round game. When you're still trying to figure out what teams are doing for that year, it was just a bit too much for us to handle. I mean, we brought it back, but it just wasn't enough. That ruck speed is, as you mentioned, that they just handled it a hell of a lot better. Their forwards wasn't really as gaining as much meters, but they were just bouncing off, getting that quick play of the ball for Walker to sort of burn us. And Taylor Ray just too quick. Was just too quick.
He's ridiculous, isn't he? I think he clocked like just over 20 mile per hour in one sprint at one point.
Yeah, absolutely daft. When I was just stood there watching him, I just thought, who's going to catch him? And then next minute he's scoring right in front of my nose.
Yeah.
So I just thought first half just completely killed us because we couldn't handle the ruck speed. But what I didn't help matters was our discipline overall. There was a couple of times where we did a good couple of kicks in the corner, and then we just end up just giving away a stupid pen. They marched them up the field, and then they'd end up getting a roll on because they were on the back foot, and then we score. And then I just thought we reverted to type a little bit from last year, where they scored a couple of tries, and we just sort of just didn't know what to do. We lost.
I think as well that we're getting used to the new style of play as well, because it didn't look clean yet. It's one thing to do it against Cass in a pre-season game in Workington, who were given a game by Blackbrook a couple of weeks before, but it's different to do it against a proper Super League defence, and it looks very clunky, which, to be fair, expected that for the first 5-6 weeks. I did anyway. It's only going to get better, I think, as each game's played. But, you know, as a disaster as that 20-minute spell was, and it is some of the worst defensive sin.
Yeah.
You know, there was, in my opinion, a very harshly disallowed try for Wellesby there, which brings that score very, very close. So don't have that terrible start, and it's not actually that big of a game in terms of the teams where they end up at. So, you know, I think we maybe just expectations a bit high because we're expecting, you know, Rowley, Salford after he'd been there 2 years with better players, but you know, there's a lot that's going to have to change that we're doing differently, and it's just not going to happen overnight. So I don't think there's anything to worry just yet, to be fair.
And I feel like that is the main thing, because I was on the hype train during the pre-season. I'll hold my hands up on that because I was excited, you know, seeing us do good bits, albeit against a really poor Workington side. I think you could really see what our intentions are, and I just thought we're due to do Warrington. And I think initial reaction was absolutely gutting, but when you reflect on, you just can't lose your head at this just yet, because I mean, new coach, new players as well, bear in mind. So don't get any easier next week, but as Gaz, we were having a chat with Gaz just before the podcast started, that with tomorrow being a tougher game, it can probably work in your favour because you start to focus a little bit more and and have a good leap forward.
I'd be interested to think. So I know it's just one game, so I'm going to give it a lot more time to give a full opinion on this. But from last season, my opinion always was that I don't want Tristan Saylor at 6, and that just again. I know again. Yes, one game maybe with the right coach. I don't know. He's all right in a few weeks, but I mean, I didn't notice him. I noticed Hastings a lot. Not all right. A lot of it was not coming off, but I noticed him. He was getting his hands on that ball a lot. Saylor again, just a great take for his try, but with the ball in hand, just running down blind alleys and cutting space off for his edge runners again. And I don't know. For me, he's a fullback, and his only good games have ever come at fullback. So I think we should take this opportunity with Wellesby out to put him there at fullback. That's what I'd do. I don't think he's going to, but that's what I'd do personally.
Yeah, I'd rather leave him where he is. I mean, I know he was quiet, but in the day, it's not his job to be putting bombs up or putting place kicks into the corner. You know what I mean? His job is to run the ball. And I noticed as well, his try when he ran in for the ball, it wasn't the first time he did that. And he was doing that beginning of last season as well. So I'm thinking if he's doing that more often where he's chasing him down, he might not win the ball, but he's putting pressure on the catcher.
His kit chase is good. I just think with the ball in hand, passing shot, the passing is horrendous from him. Really bad passes. And he doesn't look natural. I don't know. He seems to want to be wider and run where a fullback should be running. He just seems
didn't notice he went out wide a bit.
Yeah, so I don't know, but again, I know Rowley's not going to rip it up because you've trained all pre-season with a 6 and 7. You don't want to, when you've lost your fullback as well, you don't then want to change your entire spine after 1 week. So I don't think he will do it, but I don't know if longer term, if Whitby coming in with Hastings at 6 and Saylor at fullback is an option, because Jack's going to be out for a while. So I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
I'd personally have Saylor at fullback just because we've seen what he could do last year when Wellesby had a longer period out. He played his best rugby for us last year at fullback, which begs the question if we do that, because I don't see it being wise putting either Robertson or McDonald at fullback when we haven't got really a solid centre back up, because Percy's not ready yet.
Still not ready.
He's still not fit. So I'd rather stick the centres as they are, put Saylor at fullback, and we've got a couple of options then, either put just Johnny at 7, or we could just start bleeding in Whitby now. Well,
that's something I also want to talk about, because I actually thought out of the two hookers, I thought Lomax was the better than Clark in that game. I actually thought he looked a bit nippy around the ruck, and he was getting a bit more space there than Clark did, which is not what I expected, but I actually kind of like Lomax as that backup hooker.
He's got that rugby brain, hasn't he? Because he knows. I feel like he's making the better decision on what side to go down. Whereas I feel like I saw Clark quite a few times over the last few years. He's just gone down the wrong side. It's like we had the ball ready to spread on the left.
I think Hooker's a big priority for us because
Yeah.
I think we got the last. We were getting the last good performances out of Clark, and I did think, to be fair, last year he was probably our best player in my opinion. Not that there wasn't a great competition for the award, but so I think we've got the best out of what he had left, but we need someone younger and quicker in that role. That was very apparent as well because we couldn't do what Warrington did. There were a few times Walmsley made, around 80 odd meters, Clemmer just behind. We couldn't take advantage of it like they did. We got plenty of quick play of the balls, and Clark is just not quick enough anymore. So,
do you reckon we kept sort of Robbie too long?
Definitely, but I also completely understand why. I'm not going to keep it.
It depends what's in the market, doesn't it?
And his performances, for me, only really dropped towards the end of his last year. It's not like he was rubbish for years, Roby. He was really good like a couple of years before he retired. So I don't blame them, but I think this is the future planning because I don't think we had any. I know there was a few youngsters where we gave him a go, but there wasn't anyone who had the hype of like a Tyler Wren or anything like that. We had a couple young hookers who might have made it, but I think they should have made it more of a priority to sign someone years ago. I really think they should have, but
we were blessed. I mean, from going from Cunningham to Robes, but to be honest, looking back on paper, I thought we did the right decision on who we signed for his initial replacement was Lussick because he was quality at Salford. He did really well, and I was over the moon that we signed him. But I just feel like there was that dynamic where Lussick wanted to play more minutes.
Yeah,
and it created a little bit of a friction maybe in the club.
Yeah, it was an odd one. I don't think he was used as I would have used him. The way he was used was a bit odd by the coach, and obviously he wasn't happy because he took his first chance halfway through a season to to go back home. But
that was his best game as well.
something happened there, I think, behind the scenes, because I don't think he was happy here most of his time, which was a shame because he could have plugged that gap for a bit longer. And if it was him and Clark together, I think that's a lot healthier. But I personally don't think Burns is any sort of answer. I'm not against giving him one last go this season to see what he can do, but I don't think that's going to happen. And Lomax is doing the best he can because it's not his position. But man, we need another hooker. So that's one for next year. I think we need another hooker.
Lomax's vision will help a lot in that situation, though.
Yeah,
the way he looks at the game is just completely different to everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. He just is Mr. Rugby League. Like I've seen him years ago when I was younger, when I used to be over Cowley Fields watching him train. That he'd just be so focused, as and you just knew that his whole life devoted to rugby league, and he's got the brains there.
He's got the best rugby brain. He's got such a good rugby brain, and you could see it last season. Where the idea was there, and it was just the execution was just slightly off. Like the timing of the pass, the being able to actually not being able to get through a gap or get on the edge of a shoulder. The ideas were all there. You could see it. He just couldn't execute it consistently enough. But in back in the halves, I don't think works with Hastings because Hastings isn't painfully slow, but he's also not very quick. And I think that's just too slow of a combination together in your halves. And I think you suffer a little bit because
that's another reason why I want to keep Saylor at 6. At least you've got pace next to him. Well,
that's it. Because the main thing with Hastings, he's playing the role this year of getting the ball in motion from the ruck. At least the initial start, which he's doing well. The only thing is with the pace from Saylor, I believe he's just not doing the right pass, or he's just a bit hesitant because he's not used to actually passing.
For me, it's positioning and passing. And I think actually if he played fullback, he'd make a bit more use of his pace because he could support up the middle a lot more, which we've seen and we saw in games last year. His support play,
like as a Barber type fullback.
Yeah, his support play is really good, and I like the idea of him, especially with Rowley ball. We're going to be offloading more. To have someone like Saylor in the middle when we're offloading that ball more, those breaks up the middle, like we saw with Barber, that type of thing, and I think he suits that. But I've heard the rumor of who's playing fullback tomorrow anyway, so we'll see what.
Let's
We'll
see.
See, my thoughts would be Robertson at fullback, Daggle in the centre, and while I'm at it, he's worked hard, but I'd take Cross out for Murphy because there's no pace on that edge whatsoever.
No, we need more pace there. Right. I'm seeing a bit of a problem with both Dagnall and Robertson, and as exciting as they are with the ball, the defence needs a lot of work, especially from Dagnall. Robertson was really caught out in the first try. I don't blame him too much. He had a great centre in front of him, and he's not really a centre, so I don't mind that a lot. But both him and Dagnall, defensively, they just need a lot of work. And I know a part of that is playing. You get a better by playing more games, so you do have to put up with it a little bit. I don't think they can be in the same team at the same time, unless Dagnall's on the wing, where I think you get protected a little bit more. Both of them can't be centre, and I don't think one can be fullback or centre, because I just think defensively it's a bit too weak at the moment.
So would you put Daggle on the wing and Cross in centre?
Well, I think what I would do is I would put Saylor at fullback personally. That's all I would do, and I'd just put Whitby in the halves with Hastings. But if it's not going to go that, if you're keeping the 6 and 7 the same, then I probably would have Cross there, to be fair, at centre, and maybe someone like, I'd even be tempted to maybe look at someone like Douglas or Murphy coming into the team as well, potentially. Yeah. I've heard that Nenny McDonald is playing fullback tomorrow.
It will be the first time.
Which, out of all the options, probably would have been about my 7th option for fullback.
Yeah. But St. Rowley knows what he's getting with him, though, doesn't he? So he knows him better than we do.
And I know he's played there a bit for PNG. I get it. But again, that does mean, I think, either a lack of pace in the centre or some pace, but some defensive frailties if you take McDonald away. If Percy was back fit, I'd give that idea a go, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest.
I do feel that McDonald at fullback contradicts Rowley's style of play, just because I've not seen him pass enough for that final pass. It's normally the fullback's duty to do that final pass to the winger or the centre to get to execute. Yeah. I've seen him pass a couple of times in that game against Warrington, but it was just, just a bit of a fling pass where no one's on the man. When you're in Super League, I don't know how that's going to pan out. Like, he made our most meters last week, McDonald. So I'd personally keep him in the centre and just do what he knows best, is sticking in the centre.
That's what I would
just be a handful, because I feel like
it seems pretty. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of talk about McDonald fullback. I'd be 80% sure McDonald's playing fullback tomorrow, and if that's going to happen, I would genuinely, and I know we lose a bit going forward, but I would have Cross as the centre, and I'd probably have Murphy on the wing if he's ready to go, to be honest, instead of Dagnall. Just I think that defensively is a little bit tighter. Just a little bit.
He'll probably get injured in 5 minutes.
Well, I know that's the. He's almost forgotten about, but on his day, Murphy's quality. He's got the strength. He's got the power. He's got some speed. The only thing is, I feel like he ties it with his last game. I remember that Cass game for the last home game of last year. I think he got caught out 2 or 3 times, just steaming out the line. I don't know if that was just desperation or not, but it's a good and a bad headache to have at the minute, because we've got the depth, but it's just who do we use moving forward?
There's a lot of good excitement in attack. I'm just a bit concerned about a lot of these options defensively, and it might just be that with the young lads, you just only get better by getting used to defending against very quick and strong grown men. You might just have to put up with that for a few months of the season as he works on it. But it depends. Do you want to trust your attack to score more points? And if you do, you probably want to put Dagnall at centre and Murphy on the wing, something like that. If you want to, be more positive and just trust the attack, I don't know, but
it all remains to be seen, doesn't it?
Tell you what,
speaking of, go on.
Sorry, it's just I want to just squeeze in the one thing I'm not a big fan of, and I know it's part of Rowley's game, is the short dropouts. Not a fan of that
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Well,
you do that
I'm
when
all
you're
for
desperate
that.
for points later on.
That is an NRL thing, because in the NRL, pretty much every team will always go for a short dropout, and it's because statistically it actually makes more sense to do a short dropout. That's what the numbers say. Now, I believe a bit more in the eye test sometimes when it comes to things like this, but the numbers do apparently say that it's beneficial to go because you either get the ball back or because, and I think this is an NRL thing because their defences are so good on the goal line. They don't usually, the amount of tries that come directly from losing a short dropout isn't actually that high in the NRL. It's not that high at all. Usually need 2 or 3 repeat sets before that try eventually goes over. In Super League, I'm not sure any team quite has that goal line defence to be taking that risk and basing it on NRL numbers. It's not the same teams. It's not the same competition. Yeah. Just boot that ball downfield. You know, I don't care what the numbers say. Like, it's like this XG nonsense in football. Well, you know, get it away from me. I don't care about it. I've got eyes. I can see with my eyes whether it works or not. And
it either works or it doesn't.
Yeah. So, but that's a big, you know, we have to copy everything the NRL does, don't we? So.
So regarding Leigh,
I just feel like
yeah, it is what it is. But regarding Leigh, some good news. Curtis Simmons back in the squad now. Whether
another mobile forward who we desperately need back in with that quicker ruck. Yeah, desperately need him. And
I think Whitley drops out straight away.
Yeah, I like Whitley and Wright. They're honest, they're hardworking. When you've got both of them in the team at the same time, it's just not enough again. And that's they to me don't really suit an attacking style of play. They're very steady Eddie, run the ball straight, defend well. Although Whitley didn't defend well in the last game, but he usually does. You can't have them two. For me, you can't have them 3 with Shorrocks all in the same pack. They all bring something.
You need the power. Yeah.
You need a bigger pack, and you can have 1 or 2 of them. But to have Shorrocks, Wright, and Whitley, 3 forwards who are not going to make many meters and are not very big, you can't do that for me. You can't.
Yeah, we have missed Siren's, his style. What do you reckon, Aidan? Is that going to be a big boost for the squad? Or
that's massive.
Massively.
Siren's massive.
To put it bluntly, I'm not a fan of Whitley whatsoever. I just think it's moronic that we've got him on a 3-year deal, but that'll be a conversation later when we talk about Rush. But Ciro is an absolute unit.
Yeah.
Siren's just an absolute unit.
He's someone as well who under Wellens you saw go for offloads a lot, and it wasn't there because the players weren't used to it. I think he'll suit an expansive attacking play because he's always getting his hand free for an offload, Siren. The amount of times last season he was ready for it and no one was there. Hopefully this year they'll know to expect something like that from him because that's what he can bring. He can bring that Zeb Taylor style, like a good flick pass on him. And that's a great asset to have that in a forward.
So Zeb Taylor, no one expects him to be as good as he was.
What a player he was.
we pulled the pants down saying Joe Greenwood.
Swapped Joe Greenwood for Zeb Taylor.
There you go.
It's still, for me, one of the greatest swap deals in the history of rugby league. That's brilliant.
I remember his debut. It was absolutely belting debut that he had for us, and then there on in, he was just quality for us all around the park. I mean,
just that flip
even
pass
in that 2019
him and Don Peru.
Yeah, I mean, when we had him in Peru, those flick passes, the offload ability under Holbrook. When you've got a forward and when a defence knows it's not just the halves, the fullback, your centre. When every player on the pitch can do something really expansive in attack, so much harder to defend. It's so much harder to defend that. When
that took a couple of years to properly gel, didn't it?
Yeah, it was very clunky for a lot of 17. Yeah, very clunky.
It's not going to happen overnight. No. So, what have we got next? Mike Rush steps down to the joy of a lot of fans, the odd ones who don't like it, but that's their problem. It's overdue, isn't it?
Yeah, I think overall, an incredible net positive, and I think you're silly if you're trying to deny that his entire 27 years wasn't mainly positive. It was. He's been very good in most of his roles. More of his bad decisions than good have come in the last few years, and he didn't seem particularly in that interview in the bench last year. Didn't seem particularly happy. Something seemed off with him. So yeah, although more mistakes than good choices in the last 5 years for me, a lot more. Overall, when you look at the big picture, he has been part of, bring as head of youth development as a youth coach, bringing through some incredible players on the coaching staff of Daniel Anderson and those amazing teams. Turning this team around as an interim head coach when it was at one of its lowest points, and being the CEO for 4 in a row and a Challenge Cup. You can't argue with it overall, even though, yes, the last few years it was on a bit of a downward trajectory. That's my view on it.
Yeah, it's like a play, when you get the best out of them, they'll peak and then they drop off, and it's in there. Yeah, go on, Aidan. What do you think?
So yeah, I think it was just well overdue, just because of he wasn't keeping up with the times. I don't think as a CEO, because there's just like the little things where that Red V Cafe, the bar at the end of the game wasn't being utilised at the end of the game. That's where the club were going to get some money in. Yeah, I don't know where it seems to be refurbed a little bit now for when I walked past there a couple of weeks ago. So we might be actually utilising that for the season. So that just remains to be seen.
Hopefully more than 1 or 2 bar staff on, and you're not queuing for half an hour for a one drink.
The matching game.
But to go back on the signings, he's done some good quality signings in that period, with Holbrook and Wolf. But the last few years have been poor. But I feel like he reverted to type a little bit, because let's not forget that we did some poor signings when we had Cunningham. We had the likes of Lamatazi coming in, Tommy Leigh, Jack Owens. Do you know what I mean? Televere, absolute shite. And it's just, I don't know if it's because a club legend was involved with the club. And again, with Wellens, that he just thought, I'm having a bit more of to say on the recruitment. But when an Aussie's come in, I don't know if they had a little bit more pull. Hence why
I also think that's a good point. I think some of it, the fact he had such a close relationship with both Wellens and Cunningham, I think was really. I just don't think you could have that as a CEO. This is business, not a friendship circle. And I know it's not just him. McManus is the guy with the say at the end of the day. But CEO has a big say in whether a coach goes, and I think both of them lasted too long because Mike Rush was where he was as well. Yeah. And I know it's not easy when it's a friend of yours, but I think if he'd have gone somewhere else and done that, and if he does that, I think he might be very successful. If he goes to a completely different club where he's got no connections, but it was too, I think he was just there too long and he was too comfortable, and it was too much jobs for the boys going on everywhere. Other areas of the club, without going into it and things like that. It was just... And I also think a big mistake we make, that not a lot of clubs do now, but we're still doing it, is not having a director of rugby. I think there's too much to do in a modern club to have a CEO who does business and the football side. I think you've got to split a CEO who only is a business CEO, sponsorships, the stadium experience, things like that. And then you have a separate director of rugby I think Russ, it was too much for him, I think. And I think it showed. Yeah. I think he looked fatigued, and I think it was way too much for him to do. And that's why it suffered on both ends. When it's too much for you to do, both sides suffer, and both sides suffer, because the stadium experience, the bars, all of it, not great. Some of the sponsorship choices as well, questionable. And it suffered on the field with the way he approached young players as well, and that level of recruitment all the way to the first team. I think it was just become too much for him, and I just hope we install a director of rugby. That's what I want. A business CEO and a director of rugby, and separate the on-field and the off-field is what we need to do.
Yeah, I don't want to give the club too much credit because it's Warrington, but when I had to go and do the half-time thing, which you took great pleasure in laughing at, by the way, Ben. Right. So when they walked me through, they had loads going on in the foyer where the bars are, like games for kids and whatever. It's like, well, we just get a drink and that's it. And it's like, we really need to wake up to having more going on to keep the kids occupied, because they're not going to stand there and watch 80 minutes of rugby, are they? They're going to run about.
I'm just more for paying customers, because at the end of the day, even though it's cheaper than football, but it's not cheap to a lot of working people now. You need, and it's you need it to be an experience. You can't just go, well, the rugby's it. The rugby's the experience.
If you're taking a family of 5,
it's not enough these days. You've got to do more. You've got to do more as a match day experience, and hopefully we can have a reshake up now with Almand off the field in terms of that big role. And it would be nice to have a director of rugby. I wouldn't have minded, someone like maybe Wellens or someone else being a director of rugby. I think they might have suited that more, maybe. I don't know.
I agree with that, because actually at the back end of last year, before it was actually announced that Wello was going to be departing the club, I was like, the coaching, he's out his depth for his coaching for me, but there's no denying his passion for the club and his knowledge of rugby in general. I'd have had him as a director of rugby, bring in the likes of Rowley, and go off the back of that and relieve some of the duties to Rush, because it did get, as you say before, I think he was just balancing too much all at once. Especially when things were going tough, it gets worse, doesn't it? And I don't think it actually. I don't think it's hard to put into words, but I don't think it was the right decision to just let Wello go straight away for me. Even though he wasn't the right man for the coaching role, I just feel like he should have still stuck at the club and utilised his love and passion in that manner.
He'd always be welcome back.
And I heard rumours as well that, and again, they could be rubbish, but I heard rumours that there were several players Wellens wanted who I think would have been very good signings, and he was told no, basically. So, and if those rumours are true, then that's why I had the thought of, well, I think he did have an eye for a player, and I think a lot of what he wanted, if the rumours are to be true, it's a big if, he was just stopped by Rush a lot of the time from signing a few of them. Apparently one of them was Hastings as well at the time.
Oh, really?
He ended up coming anyway,
That was Rowley signing money.
Yeah. Well, apparently Rowley, again, we're only going off what we hear. We can never confirm, but I've heard Rowley is a lot more involved in signings and renewals than Wellens was. So maybe Rowley's going to be a quasi-director of rugby in a way until something like that is sorted out, which to me, I think more of that should be on the coach. I think if you don't have that director of rugby, I don't think it should all be on the CEO. I think more of that should be on the coach, the football man, the rugby man. Yeah.
In regards to, there was a rumour that Rowley was going to do that job here, wasn't there? But an idea I thought of there, maybe Paul Sculthorpe as a director of rugby.
He's got too much going on, Paul.
Yeah, he's a busy man.
We've chatted to him, haven't we, guys? I've chatted to him a couple more times. He has got his fingers in so many pies. He'd just have no room. He'd have no time. He'd have that man is if you ever look at his LinkedIn, anyone listening, the amount of stuff Sculthorpe has got going on at the moment, the man never rests. I don't think he has a day off.
Yeah. Well,
what about in terms of? Sorry, I think there's a mic delay on me. Didn't he have a link with that Rhino rugby or something years ago? Do you remember when we used to have Rhino rugby balls and padding?
That was him. Yeah, that was him. But I wonder, because I know Rowley was going to be going upstairs at Salford, wasn't he? If you remember, before all the craziness happened, that was the plan. So I wonder if the plan is at the end of Rowley's contract, he goes upstairs and we get a coaching. I wonder if that's a long-term plan.
Could be. It'd be
worth it. It seems to be what he wanted to do at Salford. So I don't know. Maybe that's what the future is here. So
one man I would not give that job to. You know where I'm going here, don't you?
All right, go on.
One man I will not give that job to is John. I love to sound of my own bloody voice, Wilkin.
Hey, now, come on. We want to get him on this podcast at some point. Come on.
No, he's not welcome. He's a pain in the bloody ass. We'll get a word in edgeways with him.
No, you won't, to be fair.
Now, whether John's right or wrong with what he's saying, he should not be going on Sky Sports and
Completely
saying
wrong.
it as fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how
It's
you
not-
two feel about it, but it's
And I
roundly
agree.
absolutely rotten.
Like I said, I actually believe he's completely right. 'Cause, I don't think he's very close with a lot of that playing group. I don't think he'd lie, but he shouldn't. They shouldn't be saying that on Sky TV. Like, ridiculous. What, that just does damage to the club. It doesn't help the club. It's not him involved. It's Wellens and it's Percival. Now, if Wellens or
Yeah.
Percival want to speak publicly, they can speak publicly. They don't need John. And I don't believe for a second they've gone, John, will you go on Sky and just like have a moan for us? I don't believe that for a second. It's
No.
not his place to be saying that on Sky TV. It just damages the club. It really, really does. It's an awful thing. And the club has no right to reply on a live TV segment as well. It's just wrong, completely wrong to do something like that.
Which you reckon, Aidan?
I just think it's borderline. Yeah, I just think it's borderline just unprofessional to a degree. I get that he wants to say his piece and he has his own opinion, but he has his own emotion to the club. And I just think, as you say, he shouldn't be saying that on Sky, because when I got in from the game last week and had a little listen to what he was saying, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you, just the club for me is king, top above everybody else. And I just think it's just, with the little
support him
nitpicking going on in the
personally,
background.
privately. I understand he might be very annoyed for his mates. Well, he's got the phone numbers of Mike Rush and Eamon McManus. Speak to them privately if you're that annoyed.
Yeah.
Stick up for your friends, yeah. But to do that when the club has no one there to be able to respond, like, it's a bit unfair as well, because we've only heard one side of the story now. And, there was no one there to give the counterbalance argument from Saints. Eamon and Mike weren't there to be able to say their piece as well. And I think that's so unfair, especially when you love the club, apparently. All that does is make us look really poor, and that is reputational damage to a business, which, I just think he was thinking with his heart and not his head there. And I get it. And again, I do get and I know he's very close with Paul, and I would be chomping at the bit if something like that had happened to me. I will also make a brief comment, though. Now, the Percival thing, if that's true, there's no defending it. It's a shocking way to treat a player. The Wellens thing, I don't know if he knows how sports businesses work, but even if you tell someone this is your goal, and if you don't hit it, you go, you don't wait until you haven't got it to find a coach, because then you have to get a coach ready to step in. So the fact he was saying they were already making moves, well, yeah, you would do. You'd have preliminary conversations in case he didn't get the goal. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with how we treated Wellens. Like, if you want
a new job, you're not going to just leave your job and then look for one. You're going to look for one whilst doing the same job.
You get ready. So I'm sure those talks were just preliminary, and that's normal. Yeah. Like, it happens in every sports business where before they sack a coach, they're going to have some conversations, because they don't want it to take months and months to find a new coach when the coach is gone. I'm sure if Wellens had made that grand final, he would have stayed. And I fully believe that. Fully believe that.
Yeah, I agree, because that rumour was going around for a while, even just before Andoy needs to make the grand final.
It was around Magic, remember? Where,
exactly, make the grand final.
And like, Wellens, I believe, that a couple of times offered his resignation apparently, and was had to be convinced to stay a bit longer. So I don't think Wellens thought that they were not going to be looking for coaches in the background. I'm sure Wellens knew. Wellens knew full well. I'm sure he did.
He's not daft.
I think his agent, what's his name from Samoa? His agent leaked that we were talking to him in the summer, which ended up losing him the job. Apparently, by the way, I can't remember the lad's name who coaches Samoa, but Wellens would have. Wellens would have seen that. He reads the news, and we were talking to coaches in the summer. So, so that side of it, I think Wellens is just being a bit silly there. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It is wrong if we have treated Percival like that. And to be fair, I don't know if he was just misspeaking, Wilkin, maybe, because...
Ben Gardner,
that's it. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Wilkin was misspeaking a bit, because he seemed to... The way he said it seemed to imply that a contract was signed. Now, if it's signed, that's legally binding. It can't go missing. Percival would successfully sue the club, and he would win very quickly. I think surely it was a verbal agreement. It can't have been a written one. It had to have been a verbal one. There's no way. It had to have been a verbal one. There's no way. The club has no leg to stand on. If it's a written contract, it's done. it's signed.
Yeah, it gets filed. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. So
the worst part for me is his mate has told him something in confidence, whether it's Percival or Wellens, whoever, and he's gone boom, boom, boom. I'm like,
and that's what I was saying before, where I don't believe for 1 second either Mark or Paul will have told him that it's okay to speak about this.
Yeah.
Because if I'd have told someone like something like that, I'd have said, "Don't tell anyone," especially not on your live TV job. By the way, surely the player and the Mark does not want Wilkin talking about that on a surely.
Yeah. If he's going to do that, bring him on the bench.
You know. But I'm sick of talking about John Wilkin.
I just think overall anyway. Sorry. I just think overall anyway that the club have done the right decision in the end anyway. Ultimately, in terms of if Percy goes next year to Huddersfield as rumoured, we have got the best out of him. Just like we did with Makinson. We got the best out of him there. Because when I listened to your podcast a couple of weeks ago, how you had your starting lineup, I didn't have Percy starting personally, just because I just feel like he was just too injury prone. And one of the biggest indicators that I found last year was that he was actually our most error-ridden player. He was in the top 5 most error-ridden players of the Super League, and yet he only played 70% of games. Like, through obviously no fault to forcing trying to passes or if it was knock-ons, etc. But
what a lot of that is missed tackles, and that's because Percy will often jam and shoot the line a lot.
Yeah.
You've seen the big Percival big hit. I'm sure both of you can remember loads a lot of times where Percival likes to jump, and sometimes that misses. But a lot of the time, it'll still delay an attacker and put them off and cause them to stop and get out the way. So it doesn't look great, but I don't think it's like it wasn't like a lot of really bad unforced errors. And for me, I'd still he walks in, and I still think he's in the top 5 in Super League. I'm going to stand by you. That's my opinion on it.
When he's match fit, he is.
He's that good. But I actually still agree. I wouldn't still offer him more than a year. I don't think when you've got a back who's over 32, 33, I don't think you ever offer them multi-year deals. That'd be my policy. It was a policy Saints used to have. It's a policy.
How long was Robbie on a year-to-year contract?
It's long left. It's because you've done loads for the club. That's why you're over 30 now, so 1 year is all you're getting. Take it or leave it. And I think, although sometimes you might lose some exceptionally rare players who can play really well into the late 30s, I think overall the number that do that versus the number that drop off is a lot bigger. And I think you risk making that error, and you only have these 1 year deals. 31, 32 for me, 1 year deals, nothing else. I think that's how you should approach it. I'd be that ruthless. I really would.
You look how many years Everton have been giving Seamus Coleman 1 year contracts. It's about 10 years.
And if they play really well, they're going to earn that another year. So maybe a year deal with a year in the club's favour. I think it's the only type of deal for over 30s we should be offering, in my opinion. Unless it's a forward. Forward's a bit different because they can play very well, very late into the 30s and sometimes 40s because you don't need speed and pace. So, but with backs and halves, he's going to be like almost 35, isn't he, at the end of that potential 2 year deal or whatever? I don't think you can do that for a centre. It's too risky. Way too risky.
I know. Because it's 3 years overall, because he's still got a year at the end of this.
Still got the year.
So if he was going to do 2 years of this,
we will be 35.
So it'll be 3 years from right now. So I just feel like the club, if Rowley's come in and have put the blockers on, if it was just a verbal agreement, I just feel like that's been the right decision.
Yeah. Personal's 32 this year.
Because that verbal agreement would have been with Wellens. He's not the coach. So if Rowley's come in and his opinion is, I like him, and I think he does like him, but I would rather that money goes somewhere else and we do the 1+1 or something like that. Rowley's got every right to do that. And I think if nothing's been signed,
of course, yes.
If nothing's been signed, then when if a coach had stayed, I'd say it's unacceptable to go back on that word. But surely Percival has to kind of expect that if the coach has changed, things are going to change if it's not been signed. It's tough, it's harsh, but I would only say
all sides are right and all sides are wrong in this one.
Yeah, it's not an easy one, and he's one of my favourite ever Saints players, and he's my best ever centre for me. And I think it's a travesty that because of one bad performance at international level, that he was left out for second rowers playing there for years because he had one bad game under Bennett, and then he got left out for the rest of his tenure, and that was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. But we won't go into the Bateman at centre and Wayne Bennett being a plonker debate.
Yeah. That's put it nicely there.
Like,
Wellesby out for up to 4 months. Now, I'm gonna get it for this.
Oh,
no. Has Wellesby peaked already?
No, of course it's way. How can you even say that as a question?
I don't know. Listen, I'm just trying to go every route here. I'm trying to go down every route.
I get it. But listen, I think it's way too early to say one way or the other.
Yeah.
He's so young still for it. You know, he can still play so many more years.
Yeah.
And remember,
he can, but look at the amount of injuries he's getting. I'm not going to say he's going to carry on, but
this is his first really big, really, really nasty one, I think. Like, you know,
it's the longest one he'll be out for.
But remember, Johnny Lomax at one point, I was sat in the West Stand and I said his career was over after his third long-term injury in a row. And then Lomax went on to never be injured for the next 8 years all of a sudden out of nowhere. So, you know, it can happen. I remember between 11 and 2015, poor Johnny, it looked like he was never going to get fit again. And things can change. I think he's got youth on his side to get over any sort of injury troubles. I think he'd be all right. And annoyingly, I actually thought he was coming into the game and he got injured as well. He had that try that should not have been disallowed. I'm not going to have any other opinion. Don't even try it, lads. It was a wrongly disallowed try. That was a great try. It was not obstruction. And his second one that he got injured in. What a great little dummy and go break. He was really coming into that game, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame that we lose not just him, but Leigh.
It is passing me point where as soon as he starts getting himself into games for that, then something happens. I'm starting to wonder if he's just unlucky. You know what I mean?
Such a big, honestly, he was coming into that game, and it's his strength. People talk about the quickness, the passing at fullback, which is important, but a lot of the time you're going to get a one-on-one against a second rower or a centre, and Wellesby is so strong for that fullback position. Wellens was very similar. It was a strength for Wellens. Yeah. He could, if he gets a one-on-one, he's going to get that arm free. He's going to get over that line. You need to double up on him, and such a big loss. And again, are we just cursed a bit this year with Leigh's and him gone long term already?
I'd rather the injuries came now. I'd rather he come now than
obviously, I'd rather them now than 3 months in the summer, because then your season's almost over. So it's a good point.
I mean, don't worry, I'm not saying that Wellesby has peaked. I'm just saying you have to ask these questions, don't you? In this game,
for me,
I don't believe he's peaked yet.
No, well, for me, on paper, you might argue that he could have done, but the last 2 years for me, I just feel like he's just had the world on his shoulders and was given too much responsibility for a poor Saints team. He was just trying to do everything. So obviously,
and I just think we had some of the worst attacking structure in the entire league, and I don't think prime Billy Slater would have done much playing in that attack. I really don't. So
he was trying to create a lot of something from nothing, which then ultimately made him look shite. But I was looking at the bigger picture, that he was trying to do something, but all the players were stood around him. Yeah, I know people argue, why is he running sideways? He's trying to find a gap.
And he was doing it a lot because, like you said, our attacking structure wasn't getting the job done. So Wellesby recognised that, and he was like, if we just play through the motions, the set plays, we're not going to do anything. And so I don't blame him for trying that. Did he do it too much? Probably, but were our attacking set plays any good ever last year? They were some of the worst I've seen in top level rugby. It was awful. God, some of those games, set after set after set.
It was like watching someone play rugby league live.
Honestly, literally at one point, just passing in a sideways line and just go. There was one game against Leigh last year. I think we had about 12 sets in the 10 metres and didn't score from a single one of them.
That's not the one where Wonga Blade just blew a bloody chance we had 20 metres to run into.
Wonga bloody bell end.
That game,
apologies for any kids listening.
Don't repeat what your Uncle Ben just said.
Yeah, don't repeat what Uncle Ben's just said, whatever you do.
Oh God. So yeah, I mean,
And you know what
it's
annoyed
one
me,
day. I mean,
lads? You know what annoyed me? Wonga Blake had a bloody great game for Bradford last week.
he's
He had a
playing
bloody,
well for him.
he had a bloody belting game
He had a
against
belting
Hull.
game against Castro, and that was it.
I know, yeah, bloody. If he has a great season at Bradford, I'm gonna have words with him. Well, where was this
Yeah.
when you were here? Eh.
I'd say pull his pants down, but he's done enough of that round here.
Oh dear, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, something positive now. The women's away shirt. What do we think? I think it's brilliant. I've already pre-ordered it.
Love it, yeah.
You know, like the
I don't
idea
mind
of it,
it.
where, yeah, I like it. It's how they're trying to do their own thing within the fabric of the club, and you know the way they've designed it, where it's like from the ground comes the light is our motto, and it's like fireworks come out the different colours represent different eras of the game or whatever. I love it. I think it's a brilliant idea.
I do.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for the women just to give them a little bit of, a bit more notice rather than them just blending in with the men's side. Because obviously, I feel like they should have. Do you know how, like, other women's rugby teams have their own tweak on the badge? I feel like that should be for the women's as well. Just because there's sometimes when I'm seeing like on Facebook and they upload something. Obviously, they've got just the red background just to differentiate the men and the women. I feel like if they just tweak it just a little bit, just to give it like them a little bit of flair, give them their own identity as well.
I think they should have their own kits every year. That's what I genuinely do, because it's another moneymaker for the club. If we're ordering batches of kits, then surely that can be part of the men's order. You just order it all together, and I don't think you lose that much money, and then you potentially have a separate revenue stream there. So,
yeah, do you remember when the club actually did women's shirts before the women's team came out? Like we went through a spell where
the pink V and all that.
Yeah, the pink V and like we had like the lilac V and stuff. Like I was all for that. I thought we should have used it for like a game or two. Like I
know like there's a thing about
charity games and that, but
I know there's always a thing about like brand recognition and everyone looking like the part of the same club, but you only need a tweak. Just tweak. I don't think completely different kits, but slightly different badge. Maybe the V is a little bit different. Away kit, just have something completely like they've done this year, completely your own.
Yeah, but the own kit's the same apart from sponsor.
And it's more potential money that comes in, because I'm not going to claim I know the ins and outs of how kit ordering works, but surely just slightly different designs isn't that good. You can all just order it together in one big batch, and then you surely not really. It's not that much of an expense, because, like you said, they've done it before, where they've brought different coloured V's out and stuff, and charity ones like with the kit or normal kit orders. So, I would be interested to see how it does work behind the scenes, but I don't think there's a reason why they can't do that.
I'll guarantee one thing: they'll sell more of those shirts in the kids' size than they will the men's.
Well,
you see what the kids like when they're watching the women's. They love them, don't they?
Yeah, they'll sell a lot of them. I think they'll sell enough to make it worthwhile. I think it's worth giving it a go. Yeah. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the trial, doing the away shirt. See how it sells. So let's hope everyone buy it. That's my word.
All right.
I wonder what.
You got anything to add there, Aidan?
Yeah, I'm just curious what our magic.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of mic delay. Sorry.
That's all right.
What our magic shirt probably could be this year, because I noticed that Saints uploaded earlier today that we've got a heritage stand now I think in the stadium, where it was showing the 96 home shirt, but maybe what we could be doing for our magic shirt is the 96 away. Well, because it last two seasons.
No, that was the blue and white stripes.
Yeah, that was the Tesco. Yeah. That was the Tesco carrier bag, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the old Tesco carrier bag shirt. Like, I don't know.
But personally, it wasn't my favourite away shirt. But if we're going with the 96 theme, I think it would sell, because there are a lot of people that do like that shirt. And the last 2 seasons, we've had the Home Bargains sponsor sort of integrate into the shirt, where it's not using the Home Bargains colours. Yeah. So maybe if we're actually utilising that, it might look pretty smart for just something different to utilise for Magic.
Yeah. Well, it's a
whole it would actually fit that as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it is a big heritage focus this year, isn't it? So with all the branding and the videos and the photos, the kits, it's all about 96. It's 96 everything. So I guess it would make sense.
No, and
All for him.
Challenge Cup round 4 against Castleford will be played on the Saturday the 14th of March at 6 p.m. Now, I've seen people moan about this. I know Saints getting punked in an evening game. What does it matter? It's a Saturday. It matter what time you play.
Well, some people just like to moan. Some people would, you know what? If God himself came down from the sky and gave somebody like magical powers, someone would still find a way to moan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some people will just moan no matter what. Like, it's fine. It's 6 p.m. on a Saturday. Yeah.
I think it's perfect time just because there's a lot of, open age that play on a Saturday, like quite early on, like 2, 3 o'clock kickoffs. So then that gives them the opportunity to then actually go to the games. Where I think in the past, where we've had people moaning about, 1 o'clock, half one kickoff on a Saturday for a Challenge Cup, and we lose out of attendance because there's a lot of people watching the open age instead.
Some people do actually work on weekends, and if they're working during the day on the weekend, they might be able to get to the game now, whether if it's 12:30. No. So,
Just stop moaning and just go to the game, for Christ's sake.
And if you can't, there'll be another game for you. There'll be more games. It's fine. You'll live.
I'll have a word with my mate, Wagger. We'll sort it out. Something non-sense related, like finally in this podcast, took nearly an hour. New rule allowing England and New Zealand representatives to play Origin. Now, a lot of people have said no to playing for England because of that. I think it's only going to help England, to be honest.
Yeah, and they've said no to playing for other nations as well because of that, which has impacted the international game. And people say, it devalues it. We already had people who weren't really from New South Wales or Queensland. The only thing that they would do is just declare for Australia. There was loads.
Jonathan Thurston played for New South Wales.
Jonathan Thurston, Petrol Civiniceva. What part of Queensland was he from? I think if you look it up, so it was all. The only difference is instead of Australia stealing talent from all these other nations, now all these nations can be represented and they can just still play State of Origin in that same year anyway. It's a great rule. It's a great move. Yeah, I mean, it's already been relaxed for years, and as long as you've done your junior rugby at one of those clubs in one of those areas, that's fine. That is fine for me anyway. I don't see a problem with that.
What do you reckon, Aidan?
Yeah, I don't mind that, to be honest, because it's hit and miss. There's obviously pros and cons to both sides about, well, you're not from New South Wales, you're not from Queensland, but if it makes some of our players tougher, because that's how Australia have the edge on us, I feel, is the State of Origin that they do have, because they're really, really tough games, and you watch them and they're like the absolute pinnacle of rugby league is those games. And so if it can only battle harden, the other club, the other nations as well, then it's probably a good shout if they're already throwing people from Tonga and and Samoa in there anyway.
Yeah. I mean, how many people from Samoa and Tonga play for Australia?
Yeah, like I said, if you're going to be strict, and you have to be super strict. You can't it's one or the other. If you want it to be, no, they are literally born and bred Queensland, New South Wales, then okay, do that. But then that also means that half the current teams can't play for them. If you're going to have it a bit of a lax rule where you just have to play some junior rugby somewhere, then don't punish international teams for it, and and make people declare for other nations that they're not a part of. And I know they already changed it a bit anyway because they let people swap now a lot more than they used to. And that was because of that was a State of Origin thing as well. So when it was like a World Cup year, they allowed people to still change their allegiance. But we're already kind of really lax with it anyway in the sport.
Yeah,
you may as well just do this as well. That's my opinion. You're either super strict.
JT played for New South Wales as a youngster, but he's Queensland through and through. Yeah. And obviously went to the Maroons when he got the chance. But
I mean,
I think it's a great idea.
Queensland's had loads of players that are from islands that they're not from Queensland, but they moved. They played junior rugby there, and for me, that should be enough. You play your junior rugby there. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that.
There you go.
Let them play for whatever country they're from.
Predictions. Now I fluked it last week because that's definitely pressing you.
Yeah, well, I'm not happy about this because you're only top of that league because of an accident.
I'm
top of that league because of an accident. Yeah, so I think you get deducted 4 points at the end of the season.
I'll get bent. Aidan, you're not in our league, are you, for the predictions? No, the predictor on our league.
I don't think so.
I'll send the link anyway.
Yeah, I've got my own like little thing, and then I always forget halfway through the season. I always do it at the start, and then I get swamped in about my own team, especially the last few years. Just worrying about my own team and not caring about everybody else because like it's a shit. So we need to sort our shit out. You know what I mean? And that's it.
All right, well, I've got mine and Tom's here, so I'll go through mine first. I've got Bradford to beat Catalan.
Hold on, I'll get mine as well. May as well do everyone for each fixture.
Yeah.
May as well. And I've just realised I've clicked on Fantasy League and not the bloody predictor because I'm a fool. Right, here we go. I'll give it a rest for you.
Sorry.
Calm down. Right, so first one, I've gone for Catalan to beat Bradford.
Yeah, I've gone Bradford while it's at home.
I think Catalan will pinch it.
Catalan, yeah.
I've gone Leeds to beat York.
Leeds to beat York, yeah. I have as well.
Yeah, I feel like Leeds will turn over York. I just feel like Leeds have a little bit, they're focusing on the league. They're coming off the back of their loss and they want to put it home as well. So.
Yeah. Off the back of last week, I'm actually going Leigh to beat us.
You know what? I'm going to go Saints.
There we go.
Home advantage.
See, last year, I was too low to Saints and it bit me on the arse in the end.
No, I'm doing the opposite now. I'm going for a bit of loyalty and I'm going to say Saints.
My head says Leigh. My heart always says Saints. And if we do them, I think it'll divide 4 points anyway because I can't see.
Yeah, it'll be a tight one.
We're still adjusting to the new ruck speeder. When they've got a full squad and they're going to be all firing.
Yeah.
Purely because they're at home, I've gone Toulouse to beat Castleford. So I thought Cass gave Wigan a good game that early 20 minutes.
I've gone Toulouse as well, yeah. I've gone Toulouse.
Yeah, Toulouse, because I just feel like they'll have a load of confidence from the back of last week. And then I feel like Cass, they've just had the full back out for the season, so it's a bit of a shock to their system that they'll have to adjust.
Yeah.
And to go to France, I just think it might be just a little bit too much for them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hate to say it, but Wigan to beat FC.
Yes, Wigan will beat them, I think.
Yeah, Wigan. I don't think Hull were that great last week. Not to take anything away from Bradford, but it's just going to be the Bevan French show again, as per normal.
Yeah. And I've got Wakefield to beat Huddersfield.
I'm going to go for Wakefield as well.
Yeah, me too. Huddersfield have a good chance of finishing bottom this year. I just think they're just really poor. Yeah.
It's one of them. I mean, they do need to go to that stadium because it just looks awful, doesn't it? We got more away fans than home. The big question now: who wins tonight?
Brisbane win comfortably.
I will have to agree. I want the trophy to stay up on these shows, but I don't know. I mean, it's a mad one. You never know what.
Now, to be fair, we've seen before when it's in England and it's in their pre-season, teams can get caught cold, but it's not a guarantee that they're going to get caught cold. And I think they'll have prepared enough Brisbane. Now, I think we'll see in the first 10 minutes. I think what type of game it'll be. I think Penrith were really caught cold by Wigan the other year, but as they grew into the game, they clearly were. If that game had gone another 10 minutes, they'd have won.
We went over there and won it.
Yeah, and I think we might see that. I think if they start cold, KR will have a chance. As the game goes on, Brisbane will get into it. If Brisbane start looking hot, KR ain't doing anything against that.
If they let Reece Walsh do Reece Walsh things,
Yeah.
it could be a long night for him. But if they can shut him down,
yeah,
they've got half a chance there.
Yeah, and it'd be very funny to see the Walsh versus Lewis antics as well.
Oh well, we should have seen that more in the Ashes, but having a divvy as a head coach,
Yeah, I think Brisbane will do them. I think they'll just. I'm not basing it on last week. So I was mentioning to guys before the podcast that when we won our World Cup Challenge in 2007, I think we lost 3 games on the spin in the league. We just didn't win.
Yeah.
And it was, I just remember being absolutely as a little kid. And then we just turned up and just, fully focused for that match. We locked in and we turned them over. So I've got, I'm not going to look too much into that, but I feel like KR could end up pinching it if they focus, because they've prided themselves on their defence and they won't be happy with what they put out last week. Because I just think they, rather than just having one eye this week, they had both eyes on this week. That's why they lost last week. So
people sometimes don't like people mentioning it, but it is just it's a fact that this is their pre-season, Brisbane, and that can have an impact. And it doesn't mean they're not taking it seriously. I'm sure a lot of teams have come over in pre-season and taken it very seriously, but it's still their pre-season. They've still not played yet. It still is going to have an impact. They come halfway across the world. We think going to France is tough. So it could even it up, and it has often evened it up for the English team. But it's also when a team has been so good, like I think Brisbane, in my opinion, are, even with all those factors in the English team's favour, we've also seen big wins for the Aussie teams, and I just think we're going to get one. I just do.
When was it? 2015 when the Rabbitohs came over and absolutely tonked us?
Yeah, well, they were facing Cunningham Saints, so
that's true.
Yeah.
And I remember when St George came over playing Wigan, and they looked incredible in that game as well. I remember St George beating Wigan at their ground. Ben Hornby and Jamie Soward and all them. Great little team that. So hopefully another cracker. I hope it's not one-sided either way. Really, I hope this is a cracker.
Yeah, I want to see a fight. I mean, I don't think Michael Lewis gets up to his usual antics against Settler, because they won't stand for it.
No.
You never know. I want to see him have a little niggle at him and see what he can get away with. I
want to see some biff. I want to see it. Come on, bring back the biff.
We haven't seen a proper biff since. Was it Cuthbertson when he put James Tomo on his ass?
Yeah. That was
brilliant.
biff. I hate this, I listen, I get it. It's dangerous. You can't hit people. It should be an instant red card. All right, doctor. I know, I get it. But
listen, it's allowed in ice hockey.
Tell me that some of the most exciting moments from your childhood are not the big brawls in games. Because even Sky Sports use them to advertise games now.
2002.
All this, we don't want to see it. We don't want to see it from the commentators, and yet they always use it to promote games. So people do want to see it. They do.
Steve-O was the best with it. Oh, there's no place in the game for this. Oh, shut up, Steve-O, you plant poss.
In Steve-O's day, they used to go after hookers like him. They used to kick the shit out of him. What's Steve-O talking about? Come on.
Probably why I didn't like it.
It's probably why,
it got me misses into the game. It was the fights that got me misses into the game, because I think about 10 years ago.
I'm not saying allow dog shots, from behind or hitting on the ground. But if someone is just doing a little bit of, they've missed, they've just swung, and it's a bit of handbags, don't give red cards for that. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's let them have a bit of an argy-bargy. My favourite one was
it is Liam Moore, so you never know, do you?
I remember when Sculthorpe absolutely pieced Bailey up in a game at Knowlesy Road, and I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Bailey was doing his normal, I'm going to be a shithouse antics, and he didn't for the rest of the game after that. Sculthorpe stood up 1, 2, 3 with the left hand, and that was it from Bailey for the rest of the game.
I remember the old
Knowlesy Road.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Was it 2004?
No, there was. Can't remember.
There was a later one where Bailey was given that was at.
Oh, is this one where Graham levelled him?
No, well, he runs away from Graham.
Yeah, 2009.
He runs across the pitch to run away from Graham. It's great.
He got him in the end, didn't he? He got him in the end.
Yeah, and I will say that was
Graham
back when. Shows you how the rules have changed, because Fastavalou goes off because of a direct shoulder to the head, and the referee says, play on. It's play on. Like, after that, it's just play on.
That's
Make
it,
a sub, play on. Like, the game is very different now. Jesus. Like, you get 3-month sentence for that now, if someone direct shoulder to the head.
Oh, it's bad enough. Right, I think that about wraps it up. I've got an hour and 10 minutes on this one. Not done that for a while. Yeah, so Aidan, appreciate you coming on, mate. It's been really good having you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having us, and apologies on mic delay, because every time I catch up,
that's all right. We got there.
Completely missed, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's easily done. So we're back next week. I'm supposed to be doing the forfeit this week, but there's personal reasons as to why we can't get the shirt, which we won't go
into. I got hold of the shirt for this week, but don't worry, it is coming. It is ready, and it will be there. Hopefully,
to be fair,
hopefully for the Bradford one.
It might be a bit warmer then as well.
Yeah, true. It might be a bit nicer for you.
Yeah. So be sure to catch the pre-match on tomorrow night, and I'll say tomorrow night. You're probably watching this after it, but. We're back next week, and hopefully be in better spirits.
Yeah.
Right, so thanks very much, everyone, and keep enjoying.